One of the things that I say all the time is joy comes from intention, self-compassion is a non-negotiable, and kindness is a power move.
We came to make a change. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm LaFonda Cousin, a part-time yoga instructor, self-care advocate, and the chief people officer here at Red Wine and Blue.
I'm Katie Paris, and I'm the founder of Red Wine and Blue.
So, Katie, in a few minutes, we are going to be joined by the amazing author, Karen Walrond. But let's start by checking in. How are you feeling?
I mean, I'm pretty excited we're going to speak to Karen Walrond. I had listened to her in the past, and her being someone who has really spent so much of her energy on exploring the intersection of activism and joy, when I feel like, golly, LaFonda, we just got to reach for it every moment, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I said good morning to you last Friday by being like, hey, it's Friday. Let's make this a joyful day.
Yes.
And then we had a lot of stressful shit happen.
Because why not? It was a Friday. Why not just throw a couple bombs into a Friday? Because that's how it goes.
And then at the end of the day, I was like, what did I say about joy? And we both just like,
you literally called and were like, let's introduce some joy. And then Friday was like, actually, let's introduce a few.
Friday said, hold my beer.
And then we were like, you know what? Let's talk about joy on Monday.
I know, exactly.
Give that a little.
We decided we needed Karen here to help. That's all.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will say my weekend was totally exhausting, but also I got me some joy for sure. You know, we had that conversation last week where you and our guest, Jennifer, I heard a message that white women need to stand up and show up at these protests and make it safe for Black women and others for whom it's not as immediately possibly safe for under these circumstances. Yeah. So LaFonda, you know I'm an overachiever, right?
Uh-huh. Did you go to some rallies this weekend?
I might have gone to 3 throughout the region.
Uh-huh.
It was very important to me to get to at least one in a town that Trump won.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go and like show up for our sisters in these places where it can feel harder to not feel alone. And of course, that thing happened where it was like, I thought I was showing up to give them something, but they gave me so much more.
Yeah.
I rolled into a town Trump won at 10 a.m. Well, it was 10:05. The rally was to start at 10. There was already hundreds and hundreds of people there. You know, I got to roll in honking my horn in support and have everyone cheering. And I was just like, tears of joy. And, you know, people were just so kind to each other and just, it just felt good to feel that connected with folks who, it is such a powerful reminder. Like you can see with your own eyes, you're not alone, but really feel it too. So then I went and did it 2 more times, once with my family in downtown Cleveland. And then I also got out to another town. So I went to Parma and Medina as well.
Yeah. I was glad to see so many people out. I mean, of course, there was a lot of talk about, you know, who should be on the front line at these rallies, right? Like we talked to Jennifer last week about, you know, who should be there and who should be doing other things in the background. I think we've had these conversations a lot over the last couple of things, like finding your place in the village. And I think about these things a lot in regard to these rallies and these protests. And there's been a lot of talk about mutual aid and what your place is specifically. Like my place, you know, being a Black woman, I am not going to go to a No Kings rally. I'm not going to go to a protest, but like, where are the things that, you know, I can contribute to these moments that make sure that we're all sort of standing together without putting my Black body on the line. And so I was looking at all of of course, I love to scroll through Facebook and see all of the signs that people are making, but I was really excited to see how many people were out in the streets and standing up and you know, and just saying that the things we're experiencing are not okay. Of course, I scrolled by your posts and saw that you were indeed an overachiever. And I was like, of course, Katie would not just go to one, but she would go to 3 protests this week, or rally. Are we calling them rallies or are we calling them protests? What are we calling them?
I mean, they're just like so positive.
Yeah.
And, I think rally feels right. And I think that the thing I saw people saying both on social media and in real life was just this fills my cup.
Yeah.
I think that getting energized.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about this with Karen, like how we sustain
Mm-hmm.
activism. Because I think some people come like, okay, I'm so angry. I want to get involved,
Mm-hmm.
but then how do we sustain it? And I think what I took away from this weekend is like, this is going to help people go for a while. Like keep going,
Mm-hmm.
feeling that sense of togetherness, that sense of community, that sense of kindness.
Mm-hmm.
I just found so many people like, the one I had my kids at, people were helping me keep track of them in the crowd,
That's important.
and in Medina, I was trying to get, a photo to really capture the magnitude of the crowd. And I had people come up and go, hey, do you want to go stand over there? I'll help take that photo. Isn't this great? And it's like there's no strangers.
Yeah.
And it was great to see that several more million people participated this time than last time. And there is a role for everyone.
Yeah.
This is one thing to do. And I think it's sustaining for a lot of people who do it. And we just got to keep inviting our friends.
I feel like it was like a visual or a actual representation of what we talk about every week. Like it's fun, it's joyful, it's community, but it's purposeful. Everyone is there for a reason. We're there to show that what is happening right now is not okay and that there are more of us than there are of them. But like, we can have a good time out here. We can, I saw people helping each other and laughing together. And, I love a good comical, petty rally sign
And so many American flags.
so many.
I think there is such a sense too that, and I think I used to feel this way too, that like, oh, that's hardcore getting out there, going to that, that's super intimidating, that's for people who are experienced at this kind of thing or who are just ready to rumble, but that's not what I saw. I saw people who were really hungry for connection and wanting to feel a sense of togetherness and
Mm-hmm.
hope and affirmation of their values, and people who are tired of hearing these messages from Trump and our federal government that somehow expressing a desire for your country to live up to its ideals is somehow not American when that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm really eager to talk to Karen about the role that she sees of protest within activism and as a source of potential joy. Does it help? How does it work in terms of sustaining us in this long-term fight versus other forms of self-care and self-compassion and how that sustains us in the fight? I feel like she's just this expert at like this whole intersection of like, what is joy? What is happiness? What is activism? What is the role of anger in all this? Like, I just want to pull it all apart.
Which is actually what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you. So we left on Friday, and I know both of us felt Friday like just really drained, just because like work can take a lot out of you. And we had just like some really intense conversations just about work stuff. And then Saturday, you went to the rallies. My question for you was like, how did you feel Saturday, like afternoon, evening, coming home? Did you feel more energized? Did you feel like did you feel more empowered? Did you feel like you had more momentum? Like, how did you feel leaving those rallies on Saturday?
I did feel more energized. I did. I got to connect with Red, Wine, and Blue members out there. There is something to be said for joy and kindness as a source of fuel.
Yeah.
So yes, it was definitely energizing. And I thought it was really cool to go to places that are both towns Trump won, Cleveland, a city he very much lost, but to feel the same supportive energy regardless. So I think it also just reminded me of how unified we actually are, in this country.
Yeah.
And this is in the state of Ohio that, voted for Trump twice. So
Yeah.
to be able to feel that in such different parts of my region was really positive for me. Did you do anything this weekend to fill your cup?
I did do things to fill my cup. After, I spun out on Friday, just personally and professionally, I think had like baby meltdowns. What did I do? Like, it's crazy how fast the weekend goes that it's like Monday and you're like, I don't know. Was there a weekend? I was just here with you just 2 minutes ago. I did a 90-minute hot yoga, personal hot yoga. I did it in like a hot works sauna, which is like 125 degrees. And then I had a 90-minute massage, which was great.
Oh
So
my God. Well
that
done.
was it. That was it. That was all yesterday though.
Amazing.
Gardening. I did some, I'm learning to play in the dirt. So if you know me deeply, you know that playing in the dirt is not I don't like bugs. I live in Texas. There are scorpions, there are wolf spiders. I'm not someone who loves critters, but I have been gardening. I had a baby garden in April, and then I just started my fall garden. So I've planted like some greens and some lettuce and some carrots. And it's like magic to like start seeing the sprouts pop up. And so all of my little sprouts have started to pop up. So I'm really excited to see them popping out.
Look at you.
And so I've spent some time like playing in the dirt this weekend too.
Good for you. I'm going to commit right now to playing in the dirt some next weekend.
Take your shoes off, do a little grounding, play in the dirt. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will be joined by Karen Walrond.
If you like this podcast, we want to tell you about another pod that's all about political news, smart women, and yes, swearing. It's called The Daily Beans. It's hosted by Allison Gill. You might know her from Mueller, She Wrote, along with advocate and comedian Dana Goldberg. I was actually on The Daily Beans a few weeks ago, and it was so fun and energizing. Kind of like talking to your best friend who is both super knowledgeable and funny and has a potty mouth, because who doesn't like that? That's just fun. The Daily Beans breaks down political headlines with facts and plenty of personality. Unlike a lot of news shows, they actually leave you feeling better, thanks to their signature Good News segment, where listeners share their personal victories and signs of hope. Don't we all need it? So if you want to stay informed without getting overwhelmed, give The Daily Beans a listen. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and start your day with the news and an effing smile. Okay, today we are very excited to be joined by Karen Walrond. She is the author of the Lightmaker's Manifesto, Radiant Rebellion, and her newest book. It's called In Defense of Dabbling, The Brilliance of Being a Total Amateur. Karen, welcome to the pod.
It is always such an honor to be here. I love you guys. I love everything you all do. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of this.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, whenever someone who I really, really admire says something like that, I get like really excited and for my words. So we're just going to try to, keep it cool here. I do want to talk a little bit about the Lightmaker's Manifesto, because this is the first time I've ever gotten to talk to you about it directly.
Sure.
And so the subtitle, of course, is How to Work for Change Without Losing Your Joy.
Yeah.
And that's basically like a polite version of our mission here, which is how to make a difference without losing your shit.
Yeah.
And
it's getting harder and harder, isn't it?
Well, that's my question. I mean, so the book came out in 2021. So we are talking COVID times. We are talking politically stressful times. We are talking if you've got kids, all the shutdown times, and whether you do or not, the impact that had on every person in America.
Yep.
Do you see that book is actually more vital since you published it in 2021?
Do I think it's more vital? That's a really interesting question, because I will tell you, when I signed the deal to write that book and began writing, it was March of 2020. So when I signed the deal, George Floyd was still alive. Breonna Taylor was still alive. The world had not yet was about to go into lockdown. And I just remember 2020 at the time feeling like things could not possibly get any worse, right? Like, I remember thinking like, this is madness. Like what's happening? People are just being killed and people are dying, and poor doctors and, and all the people who were taking care of us. Right now, I'm feeling a lot of that too, right? Like when I look at what's happening in the world, I'm like, it could not possibly get any worse. So I don't know if it's more necessary now, or it just continues to be as necessary, right? Like I feel like I've been in a heightened sense of, oh my God, we have to do something for the last 5 years, really, right? Um, and so I think it's as relevant as ever, for sure. But I don't want to discount the fact that when the book came out, we were in a pretty crazy time as well, right? That was a bananas time. And so, yeah, I would say as much.
And it's helpful to, as much as every single day feels like a new unprecedented time,
Yeah.
like just to remember that this has been going on a while. It's going to go along a while longer. And that's why we
Yep.
need you, Karen. That's why we need you, Karen, because we have got to learn to get some rhythm here if we are going to be sustained in this.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say, one of the women who I interviewed in that book, because I interviewed a lot of different activists in the book, and one of the people I interviewed, her name is Valerie Kaur, and she's a Sikh SIKH American activist, and she's a filmmaker and all this other stuff. And she said something to me that I think is both horrifying but also freeing, right? And what she said was, Karen, we're not going to see the success of everything we're fighting for in our lifetime. Like in our lifetime, we're not going to get to the point where
Mm-hmm.
all immigrants have rights, the environment has been healed, there's no, bigotry or homophobia or any of, like that's not going to happen in our lifetime, which is horrifying. But she went on by saying, she goes, but our job isn't to solve it in our lifetime. Our job is to take the torch from the people who've been working for all of this that came before us and take it for as far and as long as we possibly can and hand it off to the people who are coming after us. Like that's our work, right? And she says, and the only way that we can do that with any sort of longevity is to stay tethered to joy and self compassion, right? Like we have to stay tethered to that because that's the only way the work gets done. And that I think is the thing we have to remember, right? Like as we're sitting here freaking out about everything that's going on in the world, remember it's not, don't spiral into a sense of hopelessness because you feel like it's not being fixed right now, right? It's now where we go, okay, I've got to stay tethered to joy and I've got to have a practice of joy and a practice of self compassion and a practice of community and a practice of love and a cadence of doing that so that I can continue to replenish myself to take the torch farther. So and it's something that is very hard to remember, but I think it behooves us to remember it as much as possible.
I love hearing the practice of joy and the practice of,
Yeah,
I like hearing it as a practice of, because it
for
makes it
sure.
feel like it's less like I have an end goal in mind and more like today I'm going to get up and do that thing that gets us a little bit closer. And it doesn't lie all on me.
Yeah,
It's not all just on us today. It's our job as a community to help us get a little bit closer. I think that makes it feel a little bit less stressful.
sure, sure. And I think there's this sort of idea that, if we stay tethered to joy or we stay tethered to compassion, or love,
Mhm.
that's somehow giving up or weak or turning away from the problem.
Yeah.
And I like to think of doing that is actually how we remind ourselves what the problem is, right? By staying tethered to joy, it reminds us that this is what we want for everybody. When we stay tethered to love, this is why we're fighting, because we want everybody to have access to this. We want everybody to have access to a feeling of safety and love and joy and connection. And that's why we're doing it. Because if we just sit here and just like freak out about what's happening, I mean, what is the point? And it also sort of takes us off the goal, like our eyes off the goal, right? It means that we're looking. I'm thinking about when I was teaching my daughter to drive, and I think all new drivers do this, right? Like that she kept like veering to the right, and I kept saying, "Al, don't look at the front of the bonnet of the car. Look where you're going. Like look ahead. Like once you do that, and the car will straighten up, right? As long as you look where you're actually trying to go." And of course it did. And I think that's the reason we have the practice of all of those things is because it takes us off the bonnet of the car and looking to where we're trying to go.
So can we get to brass tactics here? Like the how. If you're a little bit of a type A person in the world who like really believes it and wants to will it into existence, can we talk about the how? And what I love about this too is that I actually feel like there's something interesting going on with your most recent book, in combination with Lightmaker's Manifesto. So the latest book on dabbling and how important this is for us to have these amateur avocations or hobbies. You talk about that being so important in these
Yeah.
really challenging times as something to fuel us and keep us going. And then in Lightmaker's Manifesto, you talk about the importance of joy to sustain our activism. And you give us a lot of insight in terms of how to find joy within the activism, because joy is rooted in meaning and purpose.
Yeah.
How do we do this? Like, how does it all fit together? I need like the concrete.
Yeah.
I'm very linear. Help me.
So, so the way, first of all, I will just say that this last book that I wrote, In Defense of Dabbling, I actually sat down thinking I was just going to write a light book about hobbies. I did not think of it as anything bigger than that. By the end of the book, I had totally revised my opinion about hobbies. And I like to think of this book as sort of the last in a trilogy of books that I've written, with the Lightmakers and Manifesto first, Radiant Rebellion, which was about joyful aging and how to fight ageism, right? Taking that mantle on in activism. And then this current book, right? And one of the things that I say all the time is joy comes from intention, self-compassion is a non-negotiable, and kindness is a power move, right? And I feel like that, like I say, that's the way you make light, right? Is you remember those things. Joy comes from intention, self-compassion is a non-negotiable, and kindness is a power move. And each of the books sort of talk about that. So in the Lightmakers Manifesto, which is actually the kindness is a power move part of that trilogy, it's really about not only, first of all, abandoning the idea that activism must mean having police dogs set on you and being that activism can be in many different forms. And the way that we do it and stay tethered to joy is we think about, first of all, what are we activated around? What's the thing that's calling us to do something? But then also think about, what are the things that I love to do? What are the things that I have a gift for? And how can I use that in service of the thing that I'm activated around? And when you do the thing that you love to do already in service of activism, that's where the joy arising from meaning and purpose can come from, right? The other thing that I think is really important to do, and I talk about this in the Lightmakers Manifesto, is the idea of having a cadence of rest, of self-compassion. And that can be in the form of rest and recreation, recreation, right? That when we have this cadence in our life where we go, 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 and then we rest, and then we go, 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 and we rest, right? That is how we build up the energy to keep go, 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 going, right? And this new book talks about how having a hobby, meaning having, and I even hate the word hobby, an avocation, a thing that you love to do that has nothing to do with profit or productivity or perfectionism, right? Like it has nothing to do with that. This is just the thing that gives you joy, the thing that you can't help but do. Whether it could be sewing, it could be knitting, it could be baking sourdough bread, as many people did during the pandemic, right? It could be any of those things. When you have a cadence of going back to that, and all you're doing is just focusing on what it gives you, and it helps feed your curiosity and your mindfulness, and it allows you to connect with people, maybe, or maybe it lets you tap into wonder and awe. That cadence of doing that thing, it's sort of like your yoga or your meditation practice, or all of those things that help refuel you, recreate you, recreation, so that you can come back and do the work.
I have never thought about recreation.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to start like pronouncing it differently.
Yeah.
Go do some recreational activities. Excuse me.
Exactly. That's, you got to recreate yourself so that you can keep going back. So I really think of like, and then of course the aging joyfully thing, like aging is living and living is aging, right? Like that's just like, if you're breathing, you're aging and you're living.
Yep.
And I think that that's what it's about. It's really sort of being mindful the whole time, no matter what you're activated around, about, am I taking care of myself? Am I refueling myself? Am I resting? Am I recreating, right? Am I doing these things so that I can go back in and be of service and do what it takes to help move that torch?
Yeah. And seeing that rhythm to it.
Yeah.
Because I think so often we think like, okay, I'm going to run over here and do this. Okay, now I'm going to tap out. and instead recognizing that it's all one thing.
It's all one thing. And it's also, we know that the earth, right? This is the woo woo part of our talk, but that everything on the earth is cyclical, right? Like, the moon waxes and wanes, the, tides rise and fall, waves come and go. And even the way that we sleep, we wake, we sleep, we wake, we breathe in and out and in and out. Like, we are part of nature. And this idea that we need to go, 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 go to burnout is literally contrary to the way that we are optimized to work, right? We are optimized to have that cycle. And we are so, I think, arrogant to think, no, I don't have time.
Mhm.
I'll rest when I'm dead, right? Like that sort of idea of it is just literally counter to the way we are optimized to work. We are optimized to rest and recreate. Like Trisha Hersey, right? Rest is resistance. Like, that is very, 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 very real. That rest is part of what we do. Recreation is part of what we do in order to be optimal in the resistance.
I mean, you're speaking my language. I say this all the time. I hate the term booked and busy. I hate it. I hate it so much. Like,
Right.
you can be booked, you can also be busy, but if you are constantly going all the time, you are never giving your body and your mind and your spirit and your energy time to rest. You are not doing anyone any good. And I think I read in defense of dabbling, you said you blame hustle culture. It's there's too many things happening all the time, and you're not doing anyone any good. And I love the permission to recreate, the permission to find something,
Yeah.
even if you're not good at it, even if you just are trying it the one time. Like, we were just talking about gardening. I put some seeds in the dirt and was like, let's see what happens.
Let's see. There we go.
We'll find out. We'll find out together.
Right.
I did it in the spring, some onions, and nothing popped out. And I was like, well, we'll try it again next time, see what happens. But you don't always have to be going, because it's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be resting so we can get up and do it again tomorrow.
Absolutely. And I would even go back and say, I'm not giving you permission. I mandate it. Like, it's not about a permission to rest. Like, you have to do
You
it.
have to.
It's not it's and doing anything else, frankly, I think is doing a disservice to the cause.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I believe that.
I think a part of what feeds into this hustle culture mentality around activism is that people get involved because they're angry about something. They're so pissed off about something. It's a huge problem.
Yep.
And the problem feels so huge. So if we don't push, what are we even doing? And I have heard you say anger has a role.
100%. I'm very pro anger. I really am. I think pro anger is it's the spark.
Well, and it's natural, right? You said this is all about, we are part of, if we're doing what the tides are and coming and going with the seasons, like, we can't like try to repress that, I don't think.
No, I think so. That's what I say a lot is anger is a powerful spark, but it's dangerous fuel, right? Like, I think anger is what motivates us to make a change. And so that's why I'm like, I am very, very, very pro anger. And I think, people love to talk about, nonviolence and, like Gandhi and Martin Luther King, or even Jesus, right? But even Jesus flipped tables, right? You know what I mean? Like, anger motivates it. There's something else. The problem with anger is that if we stay in it and if we're fueled by anger, as opposed to using it as a spark, is that we can end up, I think, sort of devolving into the worst aspects of ourselves, right? We can devolve into the sort of behavior that we're fighting against. What is it, Audre Lorde, that says like the tools of the master can never be used, against the oppressor, right? Like, you have to be able to figure out how to dissipate the anger, right? Use it as that spark, but then use as the fuel your things like your core values, things like your integrity, things like your determination, things like even your joy and your community and your connection. Like, you have to use some of those, all of those other things in order to make the cause happen, right? Think of it sort of as I was about to use a car metaphor, but I don't know jack about cars. But like,
That's okay. It's just a hobby. You don't have to be an expert at it.
but the way I understand like petrol cars, not electrical cars, but petrol cars work, right? Like that's what a spark plug does. It's like it adds the spark. If we're not getting angry anymore, then we don't have that motivation to just keep going, right? The problem is that that's the spark isn't the thing that's keeping the car going, right? It's the thing that ignites the engine, and then the fuel comes, and then and then it goes. I mean, I'm a civil engineer. I'm not a mechanical engineer. I
That
don't
was
know
a
this.
very good car analogy.
But let's just go with it for me. But you know,
I was gonna say, I'm gonna trust that it's right.
but you know, like, or the or even a fire, right? Like, just think of a campfire, right? Like, and I use a building a fire metaphor in the Lightmaker's Manifesto, right? Like, you light the spark, you've got your fire going. The anger part, I think, in a lot of ways, is that spark, right? And then you do the oxygen or whatever else that you need to do in order to fan the flames and keep the flame going. But if it dies out and something, and trust, there's enough sparks in the world. I don't know about you, but I've been sparking like every day practically over the last 10 months, right?
It's all related. We get angry when the things we love, the people we love,
Exactly right.
are being attacked,
Exactly
killed,
right.
threatened, under assault. So it
Yeah,
does seem like they, are all related to each other.
for sure. For sure.
And to me, this is such a helpful way of framing it, because oftentimes, and I've said it myself, like, okay, well, anger is fine. It's all about how we channel it. But what you're saying is more concrete to me, though. It's giving it more of not just like, okay, it's this thing that happened, so I need to figure out how to do something productive with it. It's actually pointing out how it is productive itself.
Correct.
It plays a role.
Yeah.
And it has a role.
Yeah.
It can't play all the roles.
For sure. And you know, you asked something about like you wanted something concrete, like how do you do this? Like how do you stay tethered to joy? How do you keep going? It's a lot of it is again self-compassion, but also self-awareness. Like this is something that's really making me furious. Let me take a beat. Let me think about, okay, something has to be done. If I move in anger, if I stay in anger, sometimes I'll make the wrong decision because it's sort of a knee-jerk thing. So let me take a second, go, okay, what are the gifts that I have at my disposal? What's the community I have at my disposal? What are the things? And that's when you move, right? You take the breath, right? Who is it? Is it Viktor Frankl? Between stress and a response, there's a pause, right? You take the pause, right? And assess, what do I have at my disposal? I have my community, I have my gifts, I have my strengths, I have my email list, I have my whatever. And then, okay, we go. And then we go. And then before we burn out, because we don't, like when we're breathing, we don't inhale after we've expelled all the air out of it. It's just a cadence, right? Before we burn out, we take a beat, we breathe again. And then we go and we rest and we recreate, right? And we do that. And then we go back in again. And before again we burn out, right? We're like, okay, time to inhale again. And I'm going to recreate, and then I'm going back in. Let's go. And trust that all your community are all doing that in a different rhythm. So when you're going, that's giving space for the people to take a breath, rest, recreate, and then they're going to go. And then, right? And we're all doing it at different things, and just trust that together, like that engine, we're pushing things forward.
Karen, most people don't engage in political activism. And I think a lot of that has to do, you talk about how it can be sort of intimidating. I also think that there is something about politics, which understandably feels divisive. Engaging in politics doesn't need to be like pundits fighting on cable. That's the opposite of what we're doing here, right? But I'm thinking about in that quest to rebrand, to reclaim what political activism actually should mean. How can we use what you've learned through these books to help change that, to help change what it means?
So I will admit to you that for a long time, I was like, I vote, I'm not doing anything more, right? Like I became a US citizen actually to vote. That I was a green card holder for a long time. And I was like, there was an election that pissed me off. And I was like, all right. And I didn't have to lose my citizenship from the Caribbean, where I'm from Trinidad. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to become a citizen now. So I'm going to vote. And that's enough, right? What was really interesting to me, the idea of like calling your congressperson or calling your representative, I was like, I'm not doing that. I live in Texas and my politics are very, very different from what most Texas politics are. And I'm like, if I call somebody, I'm just going to cuss them out. So why am I why am I going to call? And it was my friend Asha Dornfest, who I interview in the book, who is one of the kindest people I know and who is very, very politically active. And she was the one that was like, okay, Karen, you do realize that the congressperson isn't going to be the person picking up the phone, first of all, right? Which I think I thought, right? Or I thought it would at least be his personal secretary right there and just say, get off the phone and go, Senator so-and-so, you won't believe the call. Like, that's literally what I thought. They're like, it's going to be an aide and it's going to be a person who's just collecting the information. And so what you're doing, if you call, is that you're giving them the information and you hope that they'll do something with the information. They may or may not, but at least you're participating in that. And then when I saw it, that I was literally on the phone for all of 5 seconds, right? When somebody picked up the phone and that was it, or leaving a message. Usually nobody picks up the phone in my representatives, but you leave a message and that's it. And then it was like, oh, okay, well, that's not as terrifying as I thought. And then you start to think of like local stuff that might be happening. And then you start to think about local stuff that maybe not even has to do with politics, but it might have to do with the community center or your school. So I think the reason that people are scared of politics is because what makes the news are the the elected officials who are very media savvy and they know what to say in order to make CNN or Fox or MSNBC or ABC or NBC get them on television, right? So that it's going to be the fiery stuff. But I think that's the showmanship. And I think personally, as far as rebranding, what we need to do is make it really clear. And I don't know how to do it. Y'all are the experts on this. But I think that what really have to do is that's not politics. That's the stuff that sells. The politics part is the making sure you do vote, right? Making sure you're registered to vote, helping your community get out and vote. That's politics. That is politics. I am not so much trying to be against anybody as I am trying to be for people, right? So if I'm doing something, let's just say, especially if it's in an area where I hold privilege. All right. So I hold privilege. I'm able-bodied cisgender woman, right? So if it's in an area where LGBTQ rights or the rights of people who have some sort of disability, I am for those people. So what I want to do is do something for them. It is less about I hate the GOP or I hate that party or I hate, right? It is far more about what can I do to help advance the cause of this community, whatever this community is, whether or not it's Black people, it's women or whatever. What can I do for? That for me is a lot easier to get my mind around and get me motivated.
I think politics is exactly what because as someone who say this probably every week, someone who didn't consider themselves political, still doesn't, even working for a political organization, doesn't consider themselves political. I think exactly what you just described is someone coming and saying, actually, this is what you need to do. It's not that scary.
Yeah.
Well, Karen, it's been amazing to have you here with us today. Can you tell us a little bit more about where people can learn more about you or buy your books?
Yeah, for sure. So you can buy my books anywhere that books are sold. If you go to KarenWalrond.com, that's probably the fastest way to get there, and you'll be able to see links to my Substack and to where to buy books and how to get a hold of me and all the good stuff.
Yay. Well, we have been so excited to have you on, and it has been an amazing time having you have a conversation with us here today. So thanks for joining us on How to Not Lose Your Shit.
It is always a pleasure, and I love, love, love what you guys are doing. So thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, everyone, for listening today. Before we go, we want to leave you with our self-care tip of the week. So this week, our tip is, we talked about it, just getting your feet and hands touching the dirt, just gardening. I've been doing a little bit more gardening. I feel like it is magic, God's magic. I've got little sprouts popping out of the dirt, which is crazy because yesterday they weren't there, today they're there, and it just feels like a little bit of magic. So I will let you know if I'm eating lettuce or greens or carrots or something that I've grown myself. But it does feel good to get your hands in the dirt a little bit and just kind of be one with nature.
I've never been able to successfully grow a plant in my life, so I'm going to let LaFonda continue to take the lead on this. I'll put my toes in the dirt. I just don't have to grow something. All right.
I'll let you know if I actually have something edible.
Okay, y'all. This podcast and all the work we do at Red, Wine, and Blue is about building community. If this show is helping you lose your shit a little bit less, we love your help. If you can take just a minute and hit that subscribe button and leave us a rating and review, that'll help us reach even more women and continue to grow this amazing community. Thanks for being here, and we will see you next week.
How to Not Lose Your Shit is a podcast from Red, Wine, and Blue. It's hosted by Katie Paris and LaFonda Cousin and produced by Amy Thorstensen. To learn more about Red, Wine, and Blue, you can find us on social media, on the Red, Wine, and Blue app, or on our website at redwine.blue.
Look around, there's something going down, but we're looking up. No matter how they try to take us down, we're gonna keep it up. We move with confidence, we're making a difference wherever we are. Good trouble is not too far. We've got the fire, we've got the grit, through the thick of it. So powerful we are. So powerful we are. So if you see us coming, just know we're making a change and we're not running. No, we're not going away. We stand together and we can stop the rain. Just know that if we came to make a change. Make a change, make a change, make a change. Oh yes, we came to make a change. Make a change, make a change, make a change, make a change. Oh yes, we came to make a change. Our sisterhood may be misunderstood, but we know we're never alone. Under the pressure, we still fight together for our freedom to stand on our own. And we move with confidence, we're making a difference wherever we are. Good trouble is not too far. We've got the fire, we've got the grit, through the thick of it. So powerful we are. So powerful we are. So if you see us coming, just know we're making a change and we're not running. No, we're not going away. We stand together and we can stop the rain. Just know that if we came to make a change. Make a change, make a change, make a change. Oh yes, we came to make a change. Make a change, make a change, make a change, make a change. Oh yes, we came to make a change. Together, side by side, troublemakers, heads held high. Oh, the journey may be long, but we still keep singing our song. So if you see us coming, just know we're making a change and we're not running. No, we're not going away. We stand together, and we can stop the rain. Just know that if we came to make a change. If you see us coming, just know we're making a change and we're not running. No, we're not going away. We stand together, and we can stop the rain. Just know that if we came to make a change. Make a change, make a change, make a change. Oh yes, we came to make a change. Make a change, make a change, make a change, make a change. Oh yes, we came to make a change. R-W-B. We came to make a change. R-W-B. We came to make a change.